Literally. Just about to.
This is just the weirdest thing, like the curtain, they've got a top and curtain now.
Kieran in it.
Nah.
No, it's not. June,
Yo,
come in. What's going on?
look for Kieran.
No, put it back.
Yeah, you know.
Right, we started.
Some stuff.
We started.
Pull
Yeah.
that back.
We started.
Guys,
We started. We started. We like.
yeah.
June, just what's going on, man?
Mate, I'm off for 3 days, yeah? And this is the first time I've had 3 days booked. And what I've realised
Guys,
is I'm a popular guy,
we
right?
like it.
You fucking
It's fine,
guy.
it's fine.
People
What
need
around?
stuff before I go, man.
We're at Wall Street.
Ball Street needs me. So you might have to pay me to come in on my days off, bro.
Right, okay. Have we started the actual show?
Yeah, it started.
So this is live.
live shit?
Yeah, you're right on the.
Say hello,
It says Junior. Junior's a genius.
Thank you very much.
Junior is a genius. You gonna get the new FIFA, Junior?
Yes, I am.
Next question, do you think you can handle me on that?
Mate, I think you'll be in trouble, bro. To be honest.
Who's better? Is he?
Mate, you know this guy can talk.
Yeah.
He's got a good talk. He talks a good game. Yeah.
Who's better at FIFA?
Mate, I think right now I've got the edge on you.
I think right now you've got the edge.
Yeah, I think I've got the edge.
But what about the UFC? When we played that the other
Oh,
week.
you fucked me up.
Yeah. You couldn't even get out of the round. Mate. You couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah. He hurt me. I'm not gonna lie. He hurt me in the UFC. But FIFA, where it matters, he ain't got it.
There you go. Bull Street at the FIFA 18 launch on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing that demo.
Any good?
It's alright. There's a few little features I like. The in-game subbing.
Do you not feel like you're just kind of being like
What?
every year
Seduced.
fleeced?
Well, you are, because I'll be honest here. The first thing I thought when I played it was, oh, this is like FIFA 17. That's the first shock. That's the first thing that came to my head. You know what I mean? And I thought, actually, it's not that different. But you know, they always do just about enough.
We actually started.
Yeah, we started been live.
Junior, we got a question from the audience.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Tits or ass?
I can answer that for him.
Batty.
Yeah, round like a pound.
Round like a pound.
The thing is, I'm not sure there's any men out there who don't choose bum over boobs.
Is there anyone out there that chooses that?
Because it's not
that's what
like-
we need to know.
Boobs are great, but the bum is what makes a woman look womanly.
Yeah.
So
The hips.
the hips,
Hips
yeah,
don't lie, innit?
yeah. So that's where I'm. That's where I'm at.
What if you were if you were to apportion?
I don't
If you had 100 to give, and you could give, so 50-50 would be 50 that
75-25.
75-25.
Ideal.
What about you, Joe?
So explain that again. What's
So if
the
you've got 100 points to give, and you're going to give a certain amount of them, people say, are you that or that?
Oh yeah.
And you just said you're round as a pound.
Yeah, yeah,
But out of the 100, how many's go in to
You're
the
going to go 100.
95.
95? Are you higher or lower than 95?
95. That's a lot. That's a big ass.
Mate.
Listen.
With the way size,
Unbalanced.
it's
Do you know
quality.
Do you know what I do at
quality.
100 points?
Yeah, go on.
Put it right up there. Just intelligence what man. And in there.
Mate.
And that's
I'd
why
have 50 in the heart.
That's
50
50
in the head.
in the heart, 50 in the head.
Should
And
be
a
a very,
frustrating night.
a very
Frustrating night.
but a wholesome relationship. I'm just trying to balance up the kind of.
Well,
borderline
you get
misogyny.
meals, but
Yeah.
no dessert.
Wow. I don't know what that means.
Well, intelligent. So it should probably be
Good
subject
talk.
Yeah, good talk. It should probably be useful in many
That's
ways.
the main thing, isn't it?
In many ways, but in the way that attracts you,
Yep.
where that 75 comes
You
in.
don't know what I'm into.
No, but you're into something 75%.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
am.
really into it.
Yeah, I am into a big way. In a big way.
I like there's someone here that's evolved just as he used to be T, but now he's A. Yeah.
Brilliant.
He's in there
Lovely.
third C. So what's funny about that is you can just see Junior up to his elbows.
Oh, yeah,
That's probably actually, no, to your neck. This is Junior.
By the way, if you're listening to this and this is all very confusing, actually,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll probably edit all this out, to be honest. But
This is Junior.
Junior's here with us for a little bit, and we're currently going through this podcast. We're
Few
talking about
requests for Junior to stay.
we request for Junior to come get a chair if you want
Let's
to
get
get
a
a
chair,
chair.
man. Let's get in on this.
We're going to talk about Rio Ferdinand becoming a boxer. We've got Neymar Jr. unfollowing Cavani on Instagram and general Neymar behaviour, because I think he's starting to turn into something quite undesirable and unlikable. Pochettino has said that the domestic cups mean nothing in football. Look at what Wigan did, and now where are they? So we'll talk a bit about that. The Lukaku song's doing the rounds at the moment. Is it wrong? Is it right? Is everyone being a little bit overblown with it all?
Right.
And we've got other bits and pieces as well. Also, if you're following us and watching this on YouTube, then please, you're a part of this show. Send in your questions. Anything in bordering on decency, we'll answer. You know, we are a real functioning company with responsibilities.
Why are you looking at me and smiling like I don't know that?
That's my good face.
Do you think I'm feeling loose today? Is that what it is?
You're a bit. Yeah, I can see trouble.
Okay, a little bit loose. Now I was saying, actually, do you know what? I met a guy who was watching the Long Ball Street and got in touch saying he liked our work and he thought he could help.
Yeah.
And I met him. I actually met him at an event a little while ago. We met yesterday and had a chat. And he was just full of compliments about the podcast and about Ball Street and the.
I saw that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
What's his agenda?
What's his agenda? Well, he actually wants to help.
Oh, good.
So what he's saying is that he works in strategy and he thinks we've got a really interesting story. This is in a world where people tell stories that aren't necessarily true, like there's actually substance to what we're doing, and he wants to help us.
What's his name?
Help us win. Christian.
Cool. Nice one,
Shout
Christian.
out to
Thank you
Christian.
very much. We'll gladly accept any help anyone has to offer.
Yeah.
Unless it's rubbish help,
Yeah.
then
which
can't
is-
you keep it?
No, we don't want to keep that.
No, they can keep it.
Yeah.
Rio Ferdinand is becoming a boxer. This is kind of, there's this in vogue thing is about getting in the ring and fighting at the moment, which, you know, kind of harks back to what men actually are in the most purest form, innit?
Fighters.
Fighters, hunter-gatherers.
I think he's bored.
Voyeurs.
Do you think he's bored? Do you think that's what he's done?
I think it's partly boredom. I think it might even have something to do with the stress he's gone through over the last 3 years as an outlet to kind of channel some of that stress.
Yeah, he's had a lot to deal with.
Yes.
Losing his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
I'd
understand.
want to punch someone up after
Yeah,
losing
of
stuff.
course.
After what he'd been through.
Been through what he's gone through.
And he's busy, isn't he? Like that's the thing that I like about Rio is he does keep himself busy. He's an active guy. He does a lot of obviously TV and stuff, but then he's even got his own channel. He seems to be doing stuff with like coaches Rebel FC. He's active, so
He gets it, doesn't he? That-
yeah, he definitely gets social and all that personal brand.
I don't recommend it to him though.
What?
Do you reckon what fighting?
Nah. After following Leon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see this?
So should we just explain what Junior?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So Junior is a filmmaker and a videographer. He actually makes the stuff on Matt World look good. So if you want to see Junior's work, head over to mattworld.com and you'll see some really nice edits. That's Junior, long time friend of mine, and one of the things that is a fight fan. But also you've been doing following around Leon, haven't you? And making a documentary on Leon McKenzie, who actually has been on this podcast before when it was just audio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Leon gave up football 4 or 5 years ago, and then started doing boxing. So I've been following him for the last 3.5 to 4 years. So he's been, so Leon must be about 39 now.
40.
Is he 40
Yeah,
now?
40.
Oh, look at that, even 40. So again, you look at him, body is in
ripped.
immaculate condition.
Yeah.
As in, for all the years I've seen him training, I don't actually think I've seen him in better condition.
Really, he's got for this one.
Than he was for this last fight. The last fight was he's got 2 losses, but this is the first one I regard as a loss.
Yes, the other one was points.
Yeah, the other one was
very
points,
even.
yeah,
Could have
and
gone either way.
Jermaine Small, if you want.
Yeah,
Smile.
that's right. And to be honest, I think I mean in my opinion he won that fight. He had some points deducted because of a bad referee decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a slip and he
got
was
carried
standing it.
Yeah,
Right.
But this fight was like 2 gladiators in the ring. This last fight he had, yeah. But I could see where he got to a point and it was just about age.
Yeah.
He ran out of steam.
It's boxing. There's a famous you can't play boxing. It will catch you out. And my worry for if it's a real thing, if Rio Ferdinand's going in with a boxer and
he could get hurt.
he's going to be a professional bout, as I understand it. Of course you can get hurt,
Yeah.
and you're mucking about really with something he has no real understanding of. I would assume.
So has he got no? Because obviously Leon had like Duke McKenzie's Leon's uncle,
Leon
Clinton
had-
McKenzie's his dad. But has Rio got any background in fighting?
I know he's got boxing mates.
Well, he was asked this, wasn't he, Adam?
Yeah.
Because we went along to the press conference today, and he said, I kind of fought a lot on the streets. So no.
He said he follows the sport a lot, but he's never boxed before.
Okay.
He would, if he doesn't look absolutely ridiculous in a ring, then he's done well.
Yeah.
If you remember Andrew Flintoff, he looks like
Yes,
he
there's
was
been a few of these. So Andrew Flintoff did something similar.
Yeah,
Then Luther
that's
did
right.
one where he trained to fight MMA, right?
Yeah.
You watched that?
I did. I watched that, but that he trained over a year, and I mean, and he trained really hard, but you could still see the first few fights he had. He was struggling.
Like Wes, man.
Yeah.
Look at
at
Wes.
Wes.
See
Yeah.
Wes, and it's just when you're in there, and it's not a natural thing. So when Rio goes and plays football, it's calm. Everything's relaxed. It's slow. He's seeing everything. He's not running around like a headless chicken because he's used to being there. Whereas when he gets into the ring, it's going to be quick, isn't it? And he's going to react. He's not going to know he's reacting, but his brain's going to be panicking. 'Cause it's not a pattern that he's that familiar with seeing, like it is when you've done that day in day out your whole life.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide in that ring.
It's also a lot of it's about muscle memory and learned behaviour. He hasn't got enough time to learn how to become a boxer. So it depends on what it is, and that goes to another question: is what is the motive behind it? I mean, obviously Betfair came up with this idea. They pitched it to him, and he said, "Yeah," because he said as much today. I can't imagine it being an actual sanctioned professional fight because it's run by a betting company who I'd imagine will be running odds on this fight. So
He'd still have to get a license.
Yeah.
So there'd still be some legitimacy to it.
yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a good boxer to get a license.
No, you don't.
You just have
You
to be
don't.
past fit.
You don't. But I'm sure as well he would want to give a good representation of himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't, after a career that he's had, last thing you want to do is go in the ring and get
Last thing
knocked
you
out in
want
30 seconds.
to do is become an internet meme.
Yeah.
Getting sparked out.
Yeah.
That would be horrible, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That would be horrible. There's
But,
no way
I
to
mean,
go.
where I would worry for him is that he's quite. He's
Will there
quite
be a
big
drug
guy.
test? Good guy.
Well, this is true. I mean, he's quite a big guy, so that says to me they're going to put big guys in front of him, and big guys hit hard.
I wonder. I don't know how much he weighs.
Yeah.
So I
He
can't,
said today's 92 kgs.
what's that in pounds?
Go on,
One out at
92
Yeah.
kgs, so 2.2 times that kilo, so it's roughly 180
180.
pounds.
So
So
what's
divided by
that?
14, so you're talking about
What's that?
202
about
pounds.
It's
13 stone.
Heavyweight.
He'd be
Yeah.
somewhere between cruiser and heavyweight.
Sorry.
Definitely.
What are you not cooked down?
Sorry, but it's just
Oh.
Cool.
carry on without me. X, right.
Yeah, he'd be somewhere between
like Tony
cruiser
Bellew.
and heavy. And you know, in those divisions, you don't need to throw too many punches, or too many
No.
don't need to land for you to go to sleep.
They're heavy shots, aren't they? So what fights would people like to see? Like if you could actually have like a dream fight, who would you like to see fight out there? I think I'd quite like.
Well, as in non-boxers.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see like Roy Keane fight someone because you know he was a nutter as a player. But I'd like to see him fight, like because Rio was I wouldn't say a Rolls Royce of a defender, but he wasn't a hard man, was he? Like I'd like to see like John Terry was a hard man. I'd like to see him have a fight.
Who would you like to see?
Terry
fight?
Ferdinand.
Well, not what's that? Terry Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
History, isn't it?
I'd like Sol Campbell to get an absolute pasting. I would pay. I'd pay box office for that.
Real versus Mayweather. Neville versus Carragher. Yeah, I would like to see someone that was a hard man have a fight. You know, like someone that was give it all out
What,
on the
Costa?
pitch. Costa, yeah, he'd be a perfect fighter.
That's what I'm saying. You want an
He'd be like
interesting fight.
scratching he'd be eye gouging and biting and all sorts. Zlatan, yeah, Zlatan and Pogba
Yeah.
both do a little bit of MMA.
He winds me
yeah.
up.
Who winds
That's
you up?
That, and I reckon
He's the kind of I'm hard. I don't give a shit.
yeah, but he could hurt someone, I reckon.
Yeah.
I mean, just those overhead kicks, you know, he can fly and kick in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. He's definitely tasty, but just winds me up.
Who's
What? Sorry, go on.
No,
You know this stuff about you know these fights coming out now. You've got all these YouTubers fighting each other.
Oh yeah. So the
but
KSI and Joe Weller.
yeah, again, like I know there's lots of money in this, but I don't think they understand what they're doing,
No, I don't.
and they're looking at the money. And unless they're properly prepared, unless they're going in with head guards, which they'd have to. I mean, they don't have to. They can do what they want. Someone could get hurt here.
Yeah.
Someone could lose
And
their
it's
teeth.
not a joke. I mean, you get caught wrong, brain damage. You'd never wake up from a coma. You never walk again. and it irritates me because I'm obviously a massive boxing fan, and I just think it's all a little bit kind of disrespectful to what they're doing. I don't think they understand what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they're fighting each other though, isn't it? So it's not like either one of them is a boxer or anything.
No,
for them, this is just views. It's nothing else.
they're gonna make a shed ton.
Yeah, even if the fight lasts 5 seconds, they'll have 10 million views in that fight.
It's like the Conor and Mayweather thing. It's ultimately conflict is the best theatre. So for these guys, it's like all the diss track stuff. It's like it's conflict, and people are just fucking sitting there watching it and getting obsessed, and the ones that support KSI are going mad about it. And then you've seen there's going to be, this is going to grow. There's going to be a full undercard of YouTubers fighting each other. This is what's going to be happening.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to know, Flav, let's offer a tag team. Who are we going to go and fight?
I'd knock the fuck out of all of them.
Of course.
There's no chance.
Yeah. So Flav is a grown. Oh, come on, let's offer someone out now.
All right.
Sam Peoples.
Sam Peoples.
Sam Peoples. If you're watching this, mate, we're gonna fuck you up.
Where is he? Where's Peoples? And Tanvir.
Peoples and Tanvir.
Peoples and Tanvir are getting. The war is coming to you guys.
Sam Peoples might be handy.
But
yeah.
I can't imagine.
Who would be hard? Like we've done this with hard YouTubers, like True Geordie.
Oh yeah.
True Geordie.
No, I couldn't take True Geordie.
He's
categorically.
So I've met him a couple of times.
Like True Geordie versus Robbie.
That would be interesting.
And Geordie's got the euphony. Robbie
has got a fucking slick jab, because me and Robbie have had a few joke fights, like office brawls.
It's one of them joke fights, but then turn a bit serious, and everyone's like, "Oh."
Yeah, but he's got Robbie's slips.
Yeah.
That jab he's trained to box before. When we even did something with Leon,
We did.
and he's just got Robbie's got hands. In fact, he caught Leon because I think Leon was almost thinking they don't know what they're doing, and he actually did I forget what it was, but it was some kind of like jab, and then kind of went to fake it and went with a straight or something, and kind of Leon was like, oh, okay. Right. Robbie knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I reckon Robbie could do something. Have you noticed that all these things that Robbie's had when his fans have come to attack him, notice Robbie ain't phased?
No, he's
not phased.
You know his background. You know he's worked in kind of various.
He's worked in
clubs. I mean, if you're gonna be a dancehall MC, you got to have a bit of something about you anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and we know Robbie's got that.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, like I said, when I saw all them, when he was at Tottenham, you guys, was it?
Yeah.
He just didn't give a shit, mate.
Yeah. I mean, he's I like Robbie a lot, so I don't want to see it. And it's a good job that he's big and can handle himself.
Yeah.
Right, who would you like to see us fight, and we'll consider calling them out,
Can
right?
you stop saying us? If you want to fight someone, go and fight someone.
What about each other? Because you're about the same size.
No way!
You can take his glasses off.
Please don't do this, it's uncomfortable, I don't want to fight.
No, we're friends, we would never fight, we couldn't do that.
I'll tell you who wants to fight, there's a geezer in the comments. Arsenal till I die. He keeps telling me to come down to Holloway Road. He keeps calling me out. But I live in Holloway Road, so I'm always there.
There's Robbie versus Lawrence wouldn't be a fair fight. Fight the Football Daily. I'd like to see Robbie and Chris Pajak fight, topless, sweating, just pounding each other. That would be a spectacle, that's for sure. And actually, I was thinking that people wanting us to fight the Redmen, but then I realised it's Adam in the comments that's trying to get that going. But this is what people would say. Chris would just run away. Right, I don't think that's the case.
Chris would not back down.
Chris would be the hardest guy in the room for sure, and I'd be attacking Machin and just be like, Flav, you have that one. You have the pasty Polak, because he's Chris Pajak. He's like the Milky Bar kid on performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, for sure.
Nicky West Ham Fan TV.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, Nicky and Robbie, that was the one. They would tire, and that's when it would get interesting.
Oh yeah, they're both just gassed, just fried. Oh, that would be amazing. Steve Howson versus the True Geordie. I mean, that would probably be interesting fact. So Steve Howson, he's used to be a paratrooper or something like that, and I think he's trained in the cage, so he's got technique. He knows what he's doing. I think he'd prefer an MMA fight though, and I think he'd probably drag whoever it is to the ground and choke him out. So I think that Ped and Matt would be a good match. Fuck, fighting Ped's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he'd intimidate you before he hit you, mate.
I think. What? Right.
Adam.
Head for charity. No way. Actually, he's the king of the novel. Dad.
Hey, you see Adam baiting me off in the comments.
Why is he doing this?
He's saying I would murder Flav. Hey, like mugging me off in front of all.
Someone went Flav versus Adam because they look the same, which isn't true. But fuck yeah, I'd do you in.
I'd kill you.
Ty versus Claude would be good.
Alright, should we move on? This is interesting, but
DT versus House.
Some people out there who listen to the podcast have no idea who all these people are, I imagine.
You know, if you don't know, you better get to know.
Get to know. What's your opinion of Neymar Jr.? Because him and Cavani have been arguing.
Yeah, right? I just read that before I came down there.
Yeah. And Neymar's unfollowed Cavani on Instagram. He's very unhappy.
And apparently he wants PSG to get rid.
Is that right?
That's
is
what I
this,
just read.
is
Well,
this
that's
just
what I
talk?
just read.
When did you read that, June? Let's have a source.
Mate, all I can tell you was on the internet. That's all I can tell you.
Bloody
Well,
internet.
it shows
Bloody
you
internet.
how kind of potentially powerful Neymar is at his football club. Because where is he going to go? He's, along with the manager and chairman, the most powerful in that kind of triumvirate of power, isn't he? He's they've just spent 200 million. No one's going to pay 200 million for him. He's got this huge contract, so he's in a position where he can't be touched. Cavani isn't that.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's it. I mean, I don't know how many Instagram followers Cavani's gone, but I think he'll miss Neymar because I'm surprised. I bet it's not that many.
Neymar
he must have like 10k, whereas Neymar's got about 100 million probably. Like Neymar is a huge deal on world football, so all the power, like you said, is going to sit with him. Is Cavani that good?
I can't tell. He is good, but is he good?
I don't think he's very good.
Tell us in the comments, is Cavani any good?
He clearly is good.
Whenever I watch him, he doesn't look very good.
He's very
his stats
clumsy.
Are amazing.
He's right, so he's a unit. He seems to be fairly athletic, fairly pacey, but he does look a bit clumsy, doesn't he? And he looks a bit like Paolo Maldini as well, like in the face. So he's a handsome lad.
Yeah. I just every time I look at him, he does look clumsy, but he always scores.
Let's just put it this way: he's no Neymar.
He's no Neymar. No. He's not. And if the club have to lose one of them, they're definitely going to ship out.
He's going to have to go. Yeah, he's going to have to.
And look, and it just goes to show. It might seem petty. It might seem petty that that he's unfollowed him on Instagram. But what does that actually mean for the football club? And how does that undermine the position of the manager as well? And the club? Like, it shouldn't be anything to do with Neymar. Like, get on with your football. And I'm starting to get irritated by him.
Neymar's irritating you.
I think so. Yeah. I'm looking at him and I'm just thinking you're well up your own arse, and so you should be because you're probably the third best player in the world. But he just strikes me as he's just believing the hype. I mean, he's good enough to believe the hype. I don't know what I'm getting at here. I'm just saying to become the best. I guess the question: do you have to be arrogant? Do you have to have that self-belief in yourself?
Well, Messi. Let's look at him.
But he's a freak.
Well, he's the best, though, isn't he?
He is the best for sure. But he's a freak. There will be no other player like Messi ever.
Right. So even taking that into consideration, and you look at his attitude and his approach outside the game and all that, you don't get all this shit from Messi, no? Ronaldo, you get a bit of this stuff.
Well, yeah, Ronaldo's another one.
But we've always known Ronaldo is egotistical, yeah. But Messi he's always come across to me as quite humble, yeah, especially for someone in his position.
Messi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, in terms of the psychology, though, I was going to get your opinion on this, Matt.
All right.
Well,
no, I was just going to say that we've got because people are talking about. We asked them about Cavani. We've got Krishna Shahani. I'm sorry if I've not said that right now. And he's just like he's saying Cavani is class, and then he goes on to say he's got very good off the ball movement, but he just snatches at his chances sometimes, which I think is quite fair. But it's nice because actually, that's quite nice analysis. Yeah. Off the ball movement and the fact he snatches at chances.
He's more than me.
So he's not. And then there's a guy saying that he's the Neymar is the CEO of PSG, which I think is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And Cavani's just a player. But go on, what were you saying about this psychology?
So in terms about arrogance and self-belief, how important do you think that is? In terms of, have you ever read anything or talked about the importance of self-belief?
God, man, a lot of stuff about that, and it's ultimately it's everything. Like your confidence is everything, and that's why. So there's some really good analysis of, for example, Conor McGregor's body language and his confidence, because a lot of times in life people act strong when they're weak,
Yeah.
and act weak when they're strong, right? And that's taken from poker a lot as well. So a lot of times when people have got a really good hand, they'll be like, oh God, these things, oh, I'll be folding in a minute, you know, and they'll start acting weak when actually they're really strong, right? And I think that when it comes though to body language, there are certain micro movements that you have that are very, very difficult to hide. And so someone like Conor McGregor, who actually went into that fight with Mayweather thinking he was going to win, and the way he holds himself, people like behavioural and movement psychologists have really analysed all this stuff and been like, he actually believes all this stuff. So someone that believes it and that sees it in their minds about how it's going to go, often that enables them to reach beyond the limitations of the body in order to get somewhere. And especially in fighting scenarios, I think that people that, because actually losing's a decision in a way, certainly in a fight. A lot of times people decide that they're going to lose. Those that refuse to lose and actually just regardless keep fighting even though they're getting mashed up, often they kind of come out. So I think that yeah, the whole thing about confidence, of course, it's undeniable.
So you think this kind of, I guess it's arrogance as well as confidence. They kind of go hand in hand to some degree because you can't have one without the other. But it kind of going to help Neymar in his journey to become Ballon d'Or winner.
Confidence and arrogance are two different things.
They are, but they kind of. I think because confidence then maybe for a weak personality becomes arrogance.
Well, you can be arrogant and not confident.
What kind of like as a barrier?
You could actually be not very confident, but you could be arrogant in the way that you act.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, and you can be arrogant in the way that you're perceived by your actions, and actually that could be cultural. So arrogant is a way of, I think, being interpreted almost, and can be how you act, but confidence doesn't necessarily need to be arrogant. So
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They are different. I just think that his arrogance comes from his ability. He thinks he's better. And so he behaves in a way that isn't acceptable as is. You know, like refusing to shake the hand of an opponent, snatching the ball off of another player because he wanted to take a free kick. It's kind of like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, but then it's got to be. Of course, you've got to be arrogant to be on that stage, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
To be there and to have all that money and have all that expectation, you've got to fucking have you've got to have mad belief in yourself, and you've got to have mad confidence to keep showing for the ball and trying audacious tricks. You've got to have it, you know. So it's going to be a part of who you are. So naturally, you're going to be like, give me the ball here, because you put pressure on yourself to win all the time.
What Neymar's done at PSG, he could have never done that at Barcelona. Imagine him trying that shit with Messi.
Yeah.
So this, for me, there is an arrogance.
He's kind of humbled there, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was, because he had the greatest players around him.
But it was Messi's team. Like, he's walked into a situation at PSG where he's gone in there as the guy.
Yeah, and he's the most expensive player and all that kind of stuff. So, and again, he's young.
Yeah.
So there's got to be part of it that's going to go to his head anyway. You know.
Can't not, can it?
It's going to be hard to control.
So I'm
funny what
actually
you
fine
said.
with it.
No, fair enough. I mean, it's just. I mean, I think he's an incredible footballer, and he will continue to, may well go on to win the Ballon d'Or after Ronaldo and Messi decide that they can't do it anymore. Neymar's been dispossessed more than any other player in the top 5 flights.
And he's been fouled more than any player as well.
I didn't see that one.
But he's probably tried.
But
He probably carries it more than anyone. He's probably trying all this audacious stuff. Yeah.
He's kind of doing low percentage stuff more often because he has the ability to turn it over.
But I saw some of the clips from that stuff, and it looked like he was just collecting dead bodies. That's what he was doing. He was just ruining everyone. He was doing all sorts.
Amazing.
They were just taking the piss.
My dad doesn't rate him.
Your dad doesn't rate him.
Don't think he's alright, but he's overrated.
Yeah.
Like, what are you on about, Dad?
Yeah.
What can you possibly see that no one else does?
I mean, look. The fact of the matter is, though, it's something that's very difficult for any of us to relate to. Is if you're that young and you're on such a pedestal that you're the guy. You know, you're from Brazil, right, which is fairly famous for football, and it's got a few big names. You know, your Ronaldos, your Pelés, your Romarios, Ronaldinhos. And you've got a World Cup in your own country, and you're the guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, and how old was he at that point?
20 or something.
Yeah, and you're the guy that all the advertisers are using, you're the face of that whole tournament and the talisman for your team. And then you go in and you're playing in Europe and you go into places like Barcelona and then you go for the world's biggest money. You know, you want that guy to be arrogant.
You'd be weird. It'd be weird if he didn't.
Yeah.
In fact,
If he was like, I don't want to take it. Fucking, of course he should be.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
You're turning me around.
Yeah.
I like it. I like his arrogance. I want him to get more arrogant. I want him to start being really weird and doing proper weird stuff. Pochettino, what do you think of, how do you feel about the FA Cups now? FA Cups, League Cups, do you give a shit at all?
As an Arsenal supporter
Yeah.
who's won it more than
Yeah,
any other team.
alright.
We love
Well,
that cup because that's the only thing we can win, bro.
Do you
Why are we
still,
going to dismiss that? If we got that, without the FA Cup, we've got nothing.
well Pochettino's argument was that essentially you don't get props for winning the FA Cup. You lose your job for not qualifying from the Champions League, for not having a league title race. You don't lose your job for getting knocked out of the FA Cup or League Cup. I don't necessarily agree with it as a fan. I want to see the FA Cup. I want to see the
same
trophy. But as an employee, where he's got goals to hit, and the goals are not winning the FA Cup. They never will be. Daniel Levy will always be about
Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League, because that's where the money is.
That's where the cash
It's
is.
what's 2 million for winning the FA Cup.
Yeah.
What's that?
So what Pochettino said, F it, I'm not interested.
Yeah, well, we're playing Barnsley tonight. If
Right.
you've listened to this last Tuesday.
But that's not in the FA Cup, is it?
No, it's the Carabao Cup, but
Right.
it's you know, we're going to be playing kids, and it's something that you used to lambast Arsenal and Man United for disrespecting the FA Cup and whatnot, but Spurs, when it comes round in January, will 100% play a weekend side if we get a really shit team or a lesser team in the cup. So I just think it's more the game is the problem. The game has changed more than it'd be about disrespecting cups, because there's so much money in those premium cup competitions now.
I think perspective's got lost on all these things really. Like Huddersfield played Man City in the cup. That's what normally I'd love to have a cup run and play a big team at home in the 5th round, and it happens. We're playing Man City. We swapped 10 of our players out.
But you understand it.
And I was like, well, I was gutted because I want to win it. I want to win every game. So I was like, why are we playing Man City and take it? I want to see how our first team does against City in the cup. That's what you're playing for. So I think it is weird how the game's gone, but the fact of the matter is that's where it's at now. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
If Huddersfield are doing it, because actually it's like the prize, that's what we're aiming for, and this thing's just getting in the way and it's an inconvenience, then it shows you how far it's gone.
But that sacrifice, you're in the Premier League.
You're 100 million pound, 120 million pound richer.
I still think, but I don't, there's no proof that that's going to be a bad decision to rest them. Like I think we might have gone up automatic if we did. I don't think that, because our form actually did dip a bit after that, and we ended up having to play them twice anyway because we drew. So it's like, I don't know if you're winning, but ultimately this is what's happening now, is that because of certain competitions and certain winning entry into certain competitions like next year's Champions League brings in so much cash that naturally when the chairman's speaking to the manager, he's saying, no, that's what you get into that and we're good, so it's just where we are. This is just where football is in this day and age.
Because you're seeing more lesser teams at the finals of these cups over the last 5-6 years. You know what I mean? Having more success, because like maybe you're right in terms of the so-called top 6 or whatever. Their focus has to be, I guess, Champions League and all that. I mean, as much as Arsenal haven't won the league, they seem to have been proud for being in the Champions League for 20 years.
Well, look, but listen, like
they were proud because there was money. That's what.
Right,
That's what
the fans will always want glory, but that's not the motivation of a football club. They can't. You can't have all of these players. You can't have, going after Sanchez, Özil, Lacazette, Mustafi earning X amount of money they earn without qualifying for the Champions League. So if you go all out, balls out, on trying to win as many cup competitions as possible, the chances are you're putting the immediate financial position in danger.
I quite like though that teams play their so-called fringe players at the cups, because again you get to see guys that you might not ordinarily see. There's been a few players that have come
and it
through
serves them well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Ultimately,
it does.
this actual match experience,
Yeah,
it does serve people.
And even as a fringe player, you want something to be able to look forward to, I would guess. Yeah. So at least if you know you've got a cup run, I mean, I would have thought that would have given them more motivation to try and do better, so they can play more games that season.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone says, you know, they're digging Pochettino out. He's not a winner. He's never won anything. What has he won? What he's won, but he doesn't have to win to be a successful manager in modern football. You don't have to win championships.
No, that's not true.
I'm not talking from a fan's perspective.
Oh.
I'm talking from the club's perspective.
Yeah.
That he will continue in his job in the same way Wenger has. If he
But
continues
who's
to
been more
deliver.
successful than him in recent times? Since the Premier League has started, at Tottenham, who's been more successful, would you say? Is George Graham because...
No, it's him. Oh, well, yeah, exactly.
But this is the thing, right? People are just saying that to have a pop. Because, and this is the whole thing that I talk about with instant gratification and delayed gratification. People in football now, it's, well, what if you haven't won this, you haven't won that. He's a failure because he's not won it. It's bullshit. Anything, Fergie didn't win anything for 5 years. It takes time to build great things. It takes time to build success. No business is a fucking success like that. You know, no athlete is all of a sudden just a fucking champion. They've had to go through years and years of working hard, of preparation, of building, of improving, gradually putting it into just to get these little growth in performance, you know. So for Tottenham Hotspur, I'm looking at a team that's kind of going up like that. So fine, they haven't won anything yet, so what?
Yeah.
You know, look at Leicester, they've won something and then they fucking bounce back, the manager gets sacked. Like I think you're building something great here, you know, and I think Tottenham are. So I'd look at Pochettino, or Arsenal. Would you swap with Arsenal? They won a FA Cup like every year or something for the past 5 years.
To be fair,
the whole club's in chaos.
As an Arsenal
I'd
fan,
rather be you.
As an Arsenal fan, he's the only manager that I've felt like that teams he's had have potentially been better than the squads that we've put out.
Yeah, it's the only time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I would say one time-
all other Tottenham squads, I would have said
Maybe, yeah, that's right. I mean, even the Bale and Modric squad,
Yeah.
even then we didn't beat you, I don't think. I know we did at home, but you know, it was
Now it's more a thing where, as an Arsenal fan, we're more worried about playing Tottenham now than say 4 or 5 years ago.
and I'm much more relaxed about it as well. So it's weird. It is. You're right, and that's partly down to Pochettino. I'll tell you what, something I've noticed about Dele Alli, unless there's anything. Dele Alli, I think there's something going on.
What do you mean?
Well, I've just noticed him being a little bit. There's something antsy about him now. Something's going on. I don't know if he's happy at Spurs.
Oh really?
There's something I'm sensing
What's
about
making
it.
you?
Just his mannerisms on the pitch, like what he was doing last season, doing all the little dances and all that shit on the handshake,
Doesn't
and a
look
lot of
happy,
smiling. Doesn't look happy. No, and I don't know if that's something going on at home. He's left his agent, and Raiola wants to take him over, which means fucking disaster for Daniel Levy.
Right.
That would be an interesting matchup, wouldn't it? Raiola going up against Daniel Levy, because he gets the best for his players, regardless of what he looks like. You know, he's the guy who got Donnarumma to try and force his way out of AC Milan and into Juve just so he could get a new contract.
Right.
He brokered the deal for Lukaku to go to Man United.
Right. So this guy, basically,
He's the super agent.
it sounds like he's gone and got this agent because he wants to get paid.
He either wants lots of money,
Yeah.
which you know they all do, and you can't blame them,
Yeah.
or he'll engineer a move to a place where he does get it. All of this, I don't know anything. I'm just saying, this is the stuff going around in my head at the moment when talking about Dele Alli, thinking about him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, though, this is why it must be hard. Is if you're there and as a kid, you grow up, you want to play football, you get there, and then you just got loads of people saying, "Fucking hell, you're good, you know," and actually. You know what Ronaldo's earning and so-and-so's earning? You could be earning that as well. All you got to do is come with me. Do you know what I mean?
It's
Have a look at
constant.
Tottenham. Kyle Walker's left. Must be quite an easy conversation to have, and people must be a little bit...
I'm very relaxed by it though.
Right.
I'm very relaxed about it. I just think the most important person is Pochettino. If he stays, everything's fine.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, Dele Alli, a few years ago, obviously, he was playing at, was he MK Dons or something like that, yeah? So for me, these guys have done you a favour. If now you want to shit on Tottenham, then, you know, you got no integrity, mate.
That's fine.
And they don't.
And they're not fans of Tottenham, are they? He was always going to be a great player. I'm not
He
bothered.
might not be a fan, but he should be grateful, at least.
Should be grateful for Pochettino for sure, yeah.
But, you know, if the guy... And this is the thing, isn't it? It's like... they're not their FIFA statistics. You know, they're not. It's not a computer where the guy comes up and gives that performance. They're human beings. If things are going on in their lives and it affects them, or they start to want other things, that chemistry can have an impact on everyone else, and it can have an impact in the performance. It's not like he's still going to play at finishing 90 and so 92, because if he's pissed off and he wants to be somewhere else, you don't want him in your team because you're not going to get the best out of him. So, you know, see you later. Cash in, just make sure you cash in. Well, how's his contract? Have you got years?
Yeah, it's got like 4 years left. That's not an issue. Just a little thing I throw in there, something that's been going around. Felt like to get out.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
So there's a lot of people going, have you spoken about Lukaku's willy yet?
No, do you want to talk about Lukaku's willy right now?
We need 10 likes.
It's not worth it, is it? Keep your likes now.
We need 20 unlikes, dislikes, and then we'll do it. Yeah. 20 dislikes and we'll talk about Lukaku's schlong.
Right, let's just move on. So there's a big thing at the moment. The song goes Romelu Lukaku, he's our Belgian scoring genius with a 24-inch penis. Scoring all the goals, bell into his toes. So the issue, I probably haven't done that justice. So there's two arguments here. One, the kind of casual racism kind of is not acceptable. There's no place for it in society. And the problem with casual racism typically is it kind of leads on to it being more and more accepting to be more and more racist, albeit very slowly.
Right.
And some people are saying, oh, come on, it's just a bit of fun. we realise he hasn't got a 24-inch dick in it. It's just a bit of fun.
It just rhymes.
It just rhymes, but it's no coincidence that only black footballers get associated with this big dick thing. Actually,
I don't know if any are complaining though, like being associated with big
It's like, oh, please stop talking about how my dick is.
But you're right. But to be honest,
good.
I mean,
we have to get any.
for me, I mean, football is racist. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And with the song.
What do you mean football's racist? Well, everybody.
Yeah, institution, isn't it? It's an institution. Yeah, like again, how many
Institutionally racist.
How many black managers do we have? How many black referees do we have? We've got tons of black players. How many black people we got on Talk Sport talking about football? Everyone is they all kind of look the same, and they're not black. You know what I mean? So there is an underlying kind of racism in football anyway, which is being worked on, and it has been worked on for years. Yeah.
Yeah.
As for the song, I've heard more offensive songs than. I mean, if someone sung a song about me having a 24-inch penis, I don't know how offended I'd be, to be honest. Yeah, I might even smile. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay.
Fair enough. And I don't know where the offended. I haven't read much about people being offended. I've just seen it in the news story. So those are the two arguments.
Obviously, it's the stereotype, innit? Yeah, that obviously will be offensive. I mean, but in football, like I said, I've heard a lot more offensive things than that. More directly offensive than this.
We sing a song at Tottenham about Jan Vertonghen's big dick.
Right.
And it goes.
He's white.
Yes, he's white. It goes. He's got a massive cock. He has the Jan. He tucks it in his football sock. The Jan. He shagged his bird and now she's dead. He swings his cock around his head. Jan Vertonghen, Tottenham number 5.
That's racist.
Yeah. I mean, Belgian blokes do have big willies. I don't. Racist. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like, if people are offended, then they have a right to look. I think you have a right to say whatever you want to say, as long as you can deal with the consequences.
Okay.
So I could say something racist to Junior right now, but I have to be prepared for what he's going to do to me. Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's
it's such a difficult.
It's a really difficult subject, but I just think that intent is what makes something racist. I think intent is.
Yeah.
Because there's been one thing that's been happening quite a lot in America of late, okay? And it happened in the tour between Mayweather and McGregor.
Yeah.
And McGregor called Mayweather boy. He said, dance for me boy, or something like that. And Mayweather, it all came out, and then 50 Cent, people like that jumped on it saying that was racist because boy is a term that slave owners would call their slaves, so it's got racist connotations. Which, when you think about that, you go, fine, yeah, fair play. Like
Feels tenuous.
that is, you know, however, cool, but probably in England, like we call it to the boy, it's just like men and boys. You know what I mean? Yeah, boy, like you know what I mean. You don't have the right to be here or be in my league. It's kind of so. I don't think that in that instance that's Connor being racist. You know what I mean?
No, it's his attempt to reduce Mayweather.
Yeah, it's just his attempt to reduce him. But so I think that the intent is one thing, but then on the other hand, it's just you've got to be respectful of then what things mean outside of your environment. You know, but for me, like. Boys a term I call it's like, oh, my boys, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, my boy so and so, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's
that,
not a racist. So it's the
context,
way in which it's kind of said. I think it's difficult. You're never going to get one agreement on these things, but I think that the intent is a big thing, because I also think that you can say things by accident. I think that people can say things, you know, and actually in this world when you said it, therefore when you said it's like with my missus, right? I'm not thinking half the time. Do you know what I mean? I say things and I don't say them as well as I'd like to articulate them, right? So I say things to Ty and she's like, you said that, I didn't mean it. She's like, you mean you said it? I'm like, yeah, but I didn't mean it. You know what I mean? So my intent is not bad or negative. So I think it's difficult about, but I think that that's not a racist song. And so for me, like personally, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I don't think the song's racist. I think there's a underlining stereotype, but it's not offensive. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know any man who would be offended by.
I'm just having a little look online, seeing what research has done and see where are the biggest penises on earth.
Oh no, Congo.
Yeah, it is Africa. To be fair, that's not to say that you should sing songs about it just because it's true. It's, you know, if it's offensive, that's a different issue altogether. But yeah, that's where it is. The smallest, which is better, is India.
But I don't know why these things stop. So we've got a song about Aaron Moy that goes, Alan Moy, he's got no hair, but we don't care. Now, for some people,
politically challenged.
Yeah, for some people that's an issue, and that's something that they feel bad about. And if people said, "Hey, you've got no hair," they feel bad about it. Is that, you know, what is the point at which you can't comment on anyone's appearance, positive or negative, in case, you know what I mean, of upsetting people? Because I think that everyone's going to be offended by something. Right?
You always have to be mindful when talking in racial stereotypes. There, you have.
There's a line of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think Aaron Moy is representing bald people as such. You know what I mean? And I don't think him being bald is like there's as much probably oppression in the past among bald people as maybe among black people.
Of course.
Yeah. So again, as a black person myself, I mean, if someone called
but people have been bullied for it, and people probably do feel bad about it. So.
Yeah. But if I'm being honest,
yeah.
If I was in a scenario and let's say a white guy called me boy and a black guy called me boy, I would see the two differently. Yeah, because I'm looking at it, maybe other people wouldn't, but I am thinking of history and my upbringing and what I've experienced in my life and other incidences. So that's where it will come from. You're right. The word boy is not a derogatory term by itself, but the fact they were insulting each other, it could have been an N-word, because it is an insult, the time of when the N-word was predominantly used was the same time as the term boy in that sense. So some people will be hypersensitive to it in that sense, but I can see as a black person why someone would associate that as it was. But as well, knowing Conor McGregor, not that I know him personally, but knowing the character, I don't believe he's racist or anything like that. I just believe that he made maybe a slight error in judgment of how that would be perceived. Because at the end of the day, for me, Conor McGregor and Mayweather are best friends in the world. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone who makes you that amount of money, you can't hate them.
What do you remember the Park G song about eating dogs? I can't remember. It had in the line eating dogs. Is that worse or less worse than than the Lukaku song, or is it all in the same boat? I'm giving you really horrible questions.
Yeah.
I know, but it kind of it feels like there's different degrees because ultimately everyone wants to have a big dick.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I have one.
Well, I don't.
But I don't have to.
I don't. Yeah, the dog thing is derogatory.
I remember that
That's
they,
derogatory, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
it's
remember
dogs.
that
No
there
one
was-
wants to eat dogs, but everyone wants a big dick, so it's kind of just
Yeah,
it's like-
exactly. So
there was that one that Rangers used to sing about Nakamura as well, about dogs, and he sliced it, he diced it, he put it in. It is, but
Well, it's Spurs. We had young
it's
young
tough, man.
young Lee Poyo, and people, our own fans, would go DVD. Like,
racist.
it's fucked.
It's fucked.
DVD. Like they went, he's like
Right.
he ain't a professional footballer. He's actually when he's finishing going into pubs and selling knocked off DVD. Yeah. So it's you're right. I think there are levels of institutionalised racism in football, and it happens in the sport. But I think things are getting better, and the fact that there is this conversation about Lukaku's penis now is important. That it depends on what way you think and feel on it. It's important that the conversation is had, because for it not to go unchecked, while it might not be on the surface, just that song, him having a big penis isn't really a problem, you know. But if you left that unchecked, what next? And what next? And
I
then
think
you
the
start to
more
regret.
alarming was when didn't someone post a picture of Stormzy and say Lukaku signed for? Like, wasn't there that thing?
Yeah.
The Irish paper.
Although he's. I mean, Stormzy and Lukaku look alike, like me and you look alike.
Well, yeah, but still.
I'm not saying it's a grave mistake to make, but it's not the
But there's
same
been
as
a
just
bunch
putting
of,
in
I remember
another
like
rap person.
Nigel Benn. There's been a bunch of those actually. I remember Nigel Benn when I was a kid was there was somebody had committed some crime and they put up a picture of Nigel Benn in the paper and were saying this is the guy that they're looking for or something. I remember this when I was a kid. I mean that's fine, but like you can't. But just because we don't look alike, like they don't look that alike. It's like fucking we know who he is. It's I don't know. I think that's more of an issue than something else.
But if an image was posted of when someone was talking about Ball Street and I somehow ended up as under Matt Wilson because someone had seen us at a glance, you would say I can understand why that happened.
Yeah, I'd be fucking.
I know you'd be furious. Yeah, you wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
One of the best ones, check this out, it's different to that but lightens it a little bit, was that Stu once had to sub for me on doing this panel thing but they didn't change it in time, so we had to sit on the sheet thing saying Matt Wilson Wall Street and he hated it.
Yeah, I can imagine him.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
He did hate that. Right, someone's asking for birds and that, and to be honest that's where I want to go because Junior is very experienced at guiding people in the world of
Oh,
love.
what were you going to say then? He's
Adam over there.
Can I
been slayed.
Well, I think we went too far
Oh,
with Adam last week.
I wanted. We didn't do a podcast last week.
No, the Q&A. So let's just. What are we asking?
What are we asking?
Yeah, what are you going to ask? Do you want to give Adam some
I
advice?
just want to know what's happened, Ad. Like, because he had a bad eye condition. That's gone. Are you out there? No, the people want birds and that. I just think.
Got a date tomorrow night.
Have you?
See? Hold on. You didn't tell me this. What's going
For the pod.
Save it for the pod. Come on. How'd you meet her?
She lived with my mate at uni.
So it's a proper date. It's not like Tinder. It's like
No, it's not Tinder.
So you met each other before?
I hadn't seen her for a while, then I not bumped into her, but saw her at the pub like a few weekends ago.
And he's like, yeah, we should go out and get a bite to meet or something. But then she go, I really like that. Thank you for asking, Adam.
Huh?
How much do you spend on a date night?
They spend on in June. That's how it is.
I wouldn't want to go beyond 20.
They call it
20,
they call it
25.
pay for slave.
Split it half.
So you go 20-25 and you split it. So
I would spend 20-25.
Alright.
So like 50 quid.
Okay.
So where are young people dating? Where are they in terms of women expecting chivalry?
So I always find it a bit awkward, but I would always hope that they'd want to split it 50-50.
Hope because you haven't got much money.
Just because that's the way it's supposed to be, isn't it? If we're all feminists and we want equality, then it should be
Absolutely.
50-50.
Agreed.
Suppose you just
Agreed.
want. Oh, no,
If you say to someone like I'm gonna take you for a drink, like or I'm gonna go out and buy you dinner or whatever, then that's different.
Have you ever had this situation where you're sitting and waiting and she's not saying anything, and you're like, alright, I've got to pay for all of this and I don't want it.
I haven't. But, like, to be honest, most of the dates I've been on recently, it's been 50-50.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've never had a date. I've never gone out on a date, not once. I've never had one in my entire life. But I always insist on paying. I always do.
Why?
I don't know. It just feels like the right thing to do. But
Because you're polite.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm a bit like you.
I just feel like I feel like as a man I should.
Yeah, so
even though
that is sexist.
Yeah, it's Neanderthal. It's actually.
And like some women would get offended by
I know. It's like
Not
on the
more than
tube. Like they talked on Great Touch for a Big Bed Lad. They talked about this last week. But on the tube, when do you offer your seat up? When is it the correct time? Is it any female? No, because that's
I have this very regularly.
everybody does.
Right, so number one, if you ain't got no baby on board badge,
You ain't getting a
I
seat.
can't hear you. Yeah? That's number one, I can't hear you. If you don't, I'm 43, yeah? If you don't look older than me, I can't hear you.
You don't look older than me.
You have to look old, yeah? You have
For
to
what? Oh, tube.
You
You're
want my
talking about
seat,
tube
yeah,
now.
you want
right?
my seat, yeah?
Yeah.
Even if you're old, you
What if
need to have some
they're
bags, yeah? You need some bags, some luggage, something that says, you know what, this person needs to sit down. Yeah, because as far as I see, if you're old, you actually might need to stand up for the exercise. You got to keep that blood flowing.
Yeah,
That
but you're
DVT
doing it on a principle level. I'm doing it on.
It is about principle.
I don't want to upset anyone by saying, like, saying to a woman, "Do you want my seat, love?" Because
But you don't say love. That's then getting a bit like patronising.
Treacle.
Isn't it? Oh, jeez.
Now listen,
Oi,
if they
sit-
want your
sweet
seat,
cheek, sit
trust
down.
me, if they want your seat, they're already standing next to you.
yeah,
And they're looking at you in your face, waiting for you to flinch, to give you that look, to give me that.
Can I just explain the position I'm in?
Go on.
I don't want to give it to a woman because I don't want her to think that I'm being misogynistic or thinking she's weaker than me, so sitting down. I don't want to give it to a woman who's overweight because I think she might be pregnant and she turns out not being pregnant.
Baby on board
If
badge.
you don't have a badge, you can't have a seat. I agree with that. But I'll give my seat up to anyone who definitely does have a badge.
But you could
You
just
have
get
to.
a badge. Like, how
But the
easy
other thing
is
is
it to get a
Just like a badge
badge?
and belly.
Badge and belly,
Badge and belly,
right?
mate.
Well, even if there's no belly.
Then what do you need
And
a seat
badge.
for?
Yeah, I mean you're right. She doesn't
If you
need
ain't
a
got no
seat.
belly,
she's got-
why do you need a seat? You need to sort out the, like, you might have some ankles that need you to stand up. You
Yeah.
stand up, love. You know what I mean?
And the other thing is age. Age.
Yeah.
The thing is, at what point do you offer your seat to an elderly lady or gentleman?
The train, you see, when the train starts rocking,
Yeah.
if there's stability, like,
You thought about this way too
mate,
much.
every day on the train, on the way, I think about this.
I never get a
Yeah?
seat anyway.
Because I give up my seat a lot. Yeah, and I make a judgment call every time I give it up. Because sometimes someone has asked me for my seat and I've said no.
I think sometimes.
What?
Yeah, I say no. I say no.
What?
Don't be scared to say no.
No, I am scared to say no.
Don't be scared.
There's
If
no-
someone asks me, they're getting it.
They're getting
to
it, mate.
avoid like the
No, no.
awkward.
100% they're
But
getting
if I said no, I don't feel awkward. They're the one that's in the awkward position. They're still standing up. I've got the seat. I'm good.
Oh shit, I couldn't handle it. I feel my hands, my palms are sweating.
People say Junior should be more often on the show. He's decent.
Junior's welcome anytime.
Oh, thank you, peeps.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, anything else? Any more for any more? No, we've got one last question here and we've got to ask this one. Do you want to ask it? No.
How much of a shithouse is Lukaku?
That's
He's a
from
big lad, isn't he?
Alfie. Shithouse. I mean, look, he's sure. He doesn't owe Everton fans anything. He's an employee of the football club like he is an employee of Man United. Players move on, get over it.
What about booing?
They only booed him a little bit. He
Did
probably
they?
didn't deserve that, but you know, he's
Is
not,
that what he did?
He's not an Everton fan.
Right.
He's played. If anything,
How
he's an
long was he at
Ajax fan.
Everton?
2 or 3 seasons? 3 seasons, isn't it?
3 or 4.
Who? At Everton, Lukaku.
Yeah.
The thing
That's
is,
really
though,
surely.
like, it's
He's not a fan of him.
No. I think fans think they can abuse someone for 90 minutes and it's fine, and then as soon as a player does anything slightly provocative to the fans,
Yeah.
they lose their shit.
Yeah,
That's
fans.
right.
The fans need to just grow up. Fans, you think what are you watching? No one gives a shit about your football club except you. Right? The only people you should care about your football club isn't the players, the employees of the football club. It's the shirt they're wearing, and your brothers in the stands. They're the only people that matter.
there. You go. The car. Yeah. Got a, what are people putting in numbers for? 4, 3, 4. What are they saying?
Well, press 555 for cyber.
you always bring in this thing.
What is that?
Don't remember. You're too young to remember that.
Oh,
Back in the chat room days, if people wanted cybersex, you'd have to type. They'd say type 555 cyber. It was like a wrong running joke. So.
Lukaku's been at Everton.
Oh, right, okay, got you.
All right, we're done, are we?
right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If you're watching this for the first time or listening to this for the big time, what?
For the big time.
See, I didn't mean that, and I said it. I should be able to take it back. Yeah. Then thanks, but please subscribe and subscribe on iTunes as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Julian,
Thank you.
Do you want to sign us off?
Well, it was an accident me being here, but I loved it, and I'll be back.
That isn't the sign off.
Well, that's my sign off.
No,
I'm gone.
No,
See you later.
it's the bullshit sign off. What is it? What is it?
The bullshit.
You've got to start listening to it. People can't come on this podcast if they haven't listened all the way to the end.
I don't watch this podcast.
See you at the far post.
Oh, see you at the far post.
Yes, thank you.